Originality. It seems humans have an inherent tendency to want to be different, or perhaps not different, but unique, original. But then you'll have at the same time the school of thought that will be thinking, oh, everything's been done before. And to be honest, I've had this thought, well, oh, everything's been done before, I can't do anything. But the more I think of it, I realize that life and originality is just a bunch of remixing. And of course, the funniest thing is, I'm not the first to think of this, nor will I be the last. As human nature is, we tend to repeat things, but we also make new ideas. How does that work? Well, I'm gonna go to some Dostoevsky, my guy. And if you don't know Dostoevsky, he was, and I guess still is, a prominent existential, philosopher, writer of the 19th century, and written works like Crime and Punishment, The Brothers Karamazov, Demons, and The Idiot. And The Idiot is what I'm going to be referencing. It's the P&V translation, Part 3, Chap 1. And he, talks about originality. And I want to read this passage and just think of what it paints in your mind, because if I'm being honest, it sounds eerily like our own lives. Okay, so Dostoevsky writes, as soon as some of our young ladies cut their hair, put on blue spectacles, and called themselves nihilists, they immediately began to have their own convictions. And then he writes immediately after, as soon as a man feels in his heart just a drop of some sort of generally human and kindly feeling for something or other, he immediately becomes convinced that no one else feels as he does, that he is in the forefront of general development. Alright, I think it's kind of humorous. Dostoevsky, he's a funny guy, at least in this book a little bit. Maybe not so much in others. I think if Dostoevsky were here right now in our modern times, he would either laugh or just smile because of how accurate he still is. And I don't want to seem like I'm clowning on these people, like the idea of the empath, with the guy, the feeling a drop of human and kindly feeling, right? Like, of course, Dostoevsky would probably be like, okay, well, he's just holding basic empathy. I don't want to clown on these people. Whatever. Everyone has this inherent desire to be original. And what I kind of wanted to point out was that there's a recurring theme in which people want to appear and change different, but they don't realize that they're so similar to the predecessors, probably their ancestors, in which they change up the way they think to a way that's already been done before. So why is everyone doing this? And I'm not wholly original, no one is. I just want to point out this trend, right? And then I gotta ask, okay, well, what does it even mean to be original? And I'll say, okay, well, the Wright brothers, they're creator of the plane, right? But at the same time, had they not looked at a bird and modeled it after that, right? So are they original? What about the car? Had the creators not looked at a carriage and thought to, automize it, motorize it, I mean? There's a desire that humans are supposed to be original, and if you're not, well, it makes you unintelligent. But I don't think that. I think that humans are a well-crafted painting, so to speak, an amalgamation of colors, of thoughts, and this creates something different, right? Yes, everyone has access to the paintings. You can go to the dollar store, and you can buy all these paintings. But what you do with these colors, what you do with these colors is really up to you, and that's human nature. You gotta really choose. That's originality. And I think humans love the idea of originality. And okay, you don't believe me? Who invented the light bulb? Who discovered America? Who was the first man on the moon? Likely, I would think to say that you know these answers, even if you believe some are in contention. But that doesn't change my point. Humans love to be first, and if you're not first, you're last. But again, what does that matter, right? What difference does it make if you're the second man on the moon? I'd say not much, but society won't remember your name as much. So why do we want to be original? I still haven't answered it. Well, I think Dostoevsky might have thought that originality was to deal with existence, as he was an existentialist, and he wanted to just communicate how people deal with their lives with originality as a cope, so to speak. But I don't know. I'm not really entirely sure. Again, I think it's the identity thing, or maybe it just gives us something to work for, right? If you have a goal set in place, you can work your whole life, discovering something, inventing something. You have this huge ambition to be wholly original in whatever matter. And maybe that's why it helps you with an identity. And Dostoevsky writes further down in the same chapter about two different people. The one who finds it so easy to be different, and then the other who finds it difficult to be original. But he always wants to be original, but he has this worm of doubt in his heart that they're not original. So near the end of this, he delves into these two groups, and he talks about the Doubtful Man and how he doesn't create anything. Now he's held back by his own thoughts. So I'll just read it. And this is in the perspective of the Doubtful Man. This he writes, or this he says, is what I've blown my whole life for. This is what has bound me hand and foot. This is what has kept me from discovering gunpowder. If it hadn't been for that, I'd certainly have discovered it. What is most characteristic in these gentlemen is that all their lives they are indeed unable to find out for sure what precisely they need so much to discover, and what precisely they have been preparing all their lives to discover, gunpowder or America. But of suffering, of longing for discovery, they truly have enough of a share in them for Columbus or Galileo. Okay, so where do I start, right? Well, I'll start with the fact that it seems like likely there's a desire to be original and all. Whether you're held back or not, it's up to you. And I think Dostoevsky is trying to show that, well, everyone has it in them to be original if you're, the doubtful man. But originality is like the paint palette I'll go back to again. Everyone holds these colors within them. They have something possible to create, but it has to be used in the right way to create something great, something wholly original. Because, as Dostoevsky states, of suffering, of longing for discovery, they truly have enough of a share in them for Columbus or Galileo. Likely you have enough in you to create something original, you just need to not let it hold you back, okay? So while we all have this desire to be original, what you do with it is up to you. I think we're inherently able to utilize our sense of originality. Whether you see the doubt in you or not, you're just no ego and you go for it. Just don't let it hold you back, right? Whether you choose to do something, it's up to you. You don't let it eat it up inside of you, man. So yeah, thank you. Let me know. You think originality is... Can there be anything purely original? You think about that? Do you think Dostoevsky is a funny guy with his analysis? What do you think about that first passage? Let me know. And yeah, thanks for listening.